If you're planning a trip to Iceland, you've probably already realized that there's a lot of information out there, but conflicting advice. Some people tell you, just drive the ring road. Some people tell you to base out of Reykjavik. Some people say, you can see it all in 5 days. Some people say 2 weeks is not enough. So in this video, I want to show you exactly how I plan an Iceland trip. It's the same system that I've used for the past 10 years living in Iceland and helping thousands of travelers build trips that actually feel realistic instead of rushed. Because Iceland is not a destination that you just throw pins on a map and hope it works out. You need a smart structure. So let's walk through this step by step. Let's get into it. The first thing I always look at is when the trip is happening, not where. Because daylight hours, weather, road access, seasonal closures, all of those factors together change what's actually realistic for the trip. I treat planning completely different whether it's a summer trip or a winter trip. Before I ever consider which waterfalls, if you can do a glacier hike or not, I look at these things: the time of year, the length of the trip, arrival and departure logistics, and the confidence level of driving in Iceland under the conditions of the time of year. So this immediately eliminates unrealistic expectations. Most planning mistakes happen because people are choosing their destinations before ever understanding these kind of factors. So once that timing is cleared up, I create a general outline of which route to take. An example of this might be Reykjavik, Golden Circle, South Coast, or Ring Road and Snæfellsnes, or basing in Reykjavik with day trips. The goal is not to see everything. The goal is to have a realistic flow. In the back of my mind, I'm always calculating things like how many hours to drive per day, if you're backtracking or not, flexibility with weather conditions, and how each of these regions pieced together connects. Is it efficient or does it feel clunky? It's only after all of that framework is pieced together that I go ahead and I start adding the stops. So again, this is where a lot of people do the opposite. They'll have all these ideas in their head of places that they want to go or things that they want to see, and then try to force that into a schedule. That is exactly how trips can start to feel crammed, rushed, stressful, overpacked. Next, I like to focus on what I call priority experiences. These are moments that I see as defining the trip. So that could be things like seeing puffins, eating at a Viking-themed restaurant, visiting an old turf museum, tasting Michelin star Icelandic food, or maybe just having enough time to enjoy the landscapes without feeling rushed. It's tempting, but not every waterfall needs to be included. I choose what actually matters for the style of the traveler and the trip they want to have. From there, I always just fill in what makes the most sense geographically. It's hard to put a trip together with bullet points on a page. You know what you want to do in Iceland, but you have no idea how to structure it, how many days is realistic, and what to prioritize. That's exactly why I built my Iceland itineraries. Whether you're coming in summer, winter, if you have 5 days or 14, they are all mapped out, paced out, and built on years of knowing what actually works. You can follow them exactly or use them as your starting point, but either way, you're not starting from zero anymore. You've got a real plan. Link is in the description. So the next thing I like to do is map out a realistic daily schedule. And what I like to include here are realistic driving times, super important. The daylight hours, so what time would you need to leave in the morning? What time can you plan to be back at your hotel? Having a weather buffer. Food and fuel logistics, this is one that people commonly overlook, where you're gonna need to stay that night. And then, if possible, I try to make recommendations based on when the crowds are at their peak and whether or not to avoid that place during those times. And again, at this point, it's super critical that I kind of harness my excitement for their trip and don't overpack the days, because the reality is trips that I'm writing for someone will always take longer when they're completing them because they like to go at their own pace. Plus you have things like roadside photography stops, unexpected windstorm rolls in, parking delays, you name it. Having a little flexibility in there is key to make sure that nothing feels too stressed. Now that the itinerary is written, the planning doesn't stop there. This is when I go in and make sure that travelers have things like backup options for plan B. I calculate driving distance and times, add in weather conditions for the time of year, and finally, any kind of factors that might have to cater to the group dynamic. So if it's a family with small children, or if it's an older couple that has limited mobility, all of those things are taken into account at that time. And I firmly believe that this is one of the big differences between just researching for Iceland and actually understanding how to travel here. Over the past 10 years, this is a system that I've perfected from living in Iceland and helping thousands of people plan trips that are realistic, flexible, and enjoyable. And this is exactly what has helped shape the brand new Iceland with a View. The updated guidebook, map, and itineraries are all designed around this idea, helping you understand how Iceland actually works so you can build a trip that flows instead of feeling overwhelming. If you want help putting this into practice, you can explore my planning tools in the description box below. And if you want to keep learning how to plan Iceland the right way, make sure to head over to the video that's popping up on the screen. I'll see you in the next video, but until then, happy planning.